When I say he was in the wrong place at the wrong time, I don't think you understand quite how much so. In 2010, Greg Flanagan was staying in room 348 of the MCM Elegant Hotel in Texas. Not sure if I'm pronouncing that right. He'd just spoken to his wife on the phone before getting into bed and relaxing after a long, busy work day. He was smoking a cigarette and he was watching TV. Then all of a sudden there was an intense pain in Greg. He got straight up and he went towards the hotel room door, but he never quite made it. He collapsed, still holding on to the cigarette between two of his fingers. When his wife didn't hear anything from him the next day, she rang the hotel and she asked staff to go up to the room just to check and make sure that he was okay. And when they got inside, they found Greg's body. The hotel room door was locked from the inside, and Greg had no indications of a physical altercation at all. No wounds on his body, no defensive wounds. It was bizarre. He was laid on the floor, looking completely normal, but passed away. All of his belongings were still there, his wallet was still there. It was a complete mystery because the autopsy showed that he had extensive internal injuries. He had broken ribs, fractured sternum, his heart and liver were lacerated, and he had an intense purple wound on his scrotum that looked serious. The injuries that Greg had were typical of a major car crash or after being crushed, not in a hotel room with no signs of anything happening to him. But what actually happened to Greg was almost unbelievable. 3 men were staying in the next room and they'd been drinking and watching sports on TV after finishing work. One of the men was called Lance Mueller and he pulled out a gun to show off to his other 2 friends. He was drunk and he pretended to quick draw like they do in Western movies, you know, when they turn around and they kind of pull it out really fast. But the gun actually fired. It fired straight through the wall. Lance just put a little bit of toothpaste in it to cover up the hole because obviously he didn't want to have to pay for damages, so he covered it up and that was that. Completely unaware that silently the bullet had gone straight through that wall, into Greg's hotel room and into his scrotum. It went up through his body before lodging in his chest and staying there. Greg suffered from a slow and silent death. The coroner would later say that it hadn't been detected before because scrotum skin can actually knit back together. So in the meantime of finding him and figuring out what happened, it had just all covered itself back up, so they didn't see anything obvious there. Lance went on to plead no contest to manslaughter and he was sentenced to 10 years in prison.